Well, they had us in the first half. I ain't gonna lie. Hello, everybody. Megazard X here. Back at it again to give you another very exciting discussion for today, though. Man, oh man, Nintendo is gonna Nintendo every single gosh dang time of the week. Doesn't matter what time of day. They hit us while I was literally sleeping in my bed, though. But yes, I'm referring to we finally managed to get this reveal for the Nintendo Switch 2. And in terms of this discussion today, I also got my good buddy over here, Steven. How's it going, man?
It's going good. I'm finally happy we got it. I had a feeling that we would be getting it soon. And lo and behold, we got it before the next podcast, which I think I said last time
Hey,
in the
you
last
said something on
podcast.
the lines of you were feeling good about it in that first week. I said heck no to that. Anytime after that,
Oh
I
yeah.
said there was a good chance though. But
Yeah, no, I
mm,
last week everyone thought we were going to get something, but it was like a Xenoblade trailer. But like, yeah, we got it this week. People were about to destroy Nate the Hate. Like
man,
he
oh
said
man,
he
I,
was going
I base a
to
lot of my some of my predictions and some of my speculations and stuff based upon the words that he has said for the longest time. So I was like, man, oh man, if Nintendo would have pulled a fast one on him, I was like, man, I respect you, man, for all the stuff you've done in the past, though. But he was literally gonna have to man, he was gonna have to go undercover for the next couple of months or something if Nintendo pulled a fast one. I know they're feeling pretty salty about all of the stuff that has been leaking and stuff, though. And we'll get to all of that info in a bit though. But I was like, man, I was like, these people are impatient. Oh my goodness.
Oh, they are. Yeah.
Yeah. So I figure for this discussion, it's only a 2 minute and 20-second trailer, though. But knowing how we like to bounce off of each other, though, I don't know how long this discussion is going to go, but we're going to cover every little bit of info that Nintendo has put up in here, and then some more that they didn't necessarily tell you. But it was certainly up in that trailer, though. So I got you all covered here for today, though. But if you hadn't already done so, make sure to hit that like button, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and that bell. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump up in it though. And I'm gonna go ahead and pop this trailer up, and we'll just take it one step at a time. One step at a time though. Oh, good gracious! All right, so they started off first with the Nintendo Switch right there, and I got to pause right here, Steven, because literally this is Furukawa, right? This is Furukawa, president at Nintendo now. And this man, I keep trying to tell y'all, this man's a businessman. He's like, I ain't pulling no Wii U mess. Look, this is what you have right now, the actual stinking Nintendo Switch. There's no mistaking it. And we're gonna go step by step to make sure that all of y'all, your mama, your aunts, your grandmas too, especially them, there's no confusion this time with this generation around. Oh goodness.
Yeah, this is we are literally showing the Nintendo Switch turn into the Nintendo Switch 2 to bang it into your heads that not only is this new, but it is an upgrade. This is the next Nintendo Switch. We are literally taking the Switch and making it better. So there's no confusion on what it is.
Yeah.
And
And
obviously, the trailer literally has text at the end saying, guys, you can play your Switch games on it and it will have exclusive games.
mhm.
Like, they want people to know what this is. They are not doing another Wii U.
Yeah, certainly not so. And I like how they have like I like how the whole thing they just go through there, add all the things bit by bit, the USB up on the bottom of the system, the power, the plus minus thing though. Notice how
It's
you also have
fun.
the USB-C at the top. And then they lead it over to the kickstand, which if you've been following all of the leaks and rumors and stuff, the kickstand is what we basically expected it, right, Steven? Like it was just a U shape and I
Yeah.
know you were kind of worried about it at first, like if that were going to be the case, but I don't know. If the thing's solid all the way across, it's not like that Switch One model kickstand. I
It's
think we
better
should
than
be
the Switch
fine.
One, yeah. As long as it's stable and it stays up, it's fine. Like, I guess it technically doesn't need to have that extra space in the middle as long as it holds up fine.
Yeah. So then they showed
It's
us that they kind of let it go like super wide, deep, and all of that. Which honestly, I don't ever see myself playing my Switch in hit or tabletop mode with it going all the way down, dropping the base down to the ground like that though. But I don't know. Maybe if you're standing up over the thing, I guess maybe have a party or something
if you're
like
playing
that.
Clubhouse games.
Yeah, I can see
Like
that.
Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics, some games require you to put it down on the table. If you don't want to actually lay it flat on the table, you could do it like that.
Yeah.
There
It,
are uses, and obviously, just giving it that flexibility provides less chances for it to break. Even if you're not going to go that far, it can go that far.
yeah, and then the next thing they showed us was the evolution of the Joy-Cons to the Joy-Con 2s. I don't know if they're gonna still kind of keep the term Joy-Con. I guess so for the sake of branding, but they might put a little spin on it though. But I like how they literally showed how much bigger they are, which thankfully those Joy-Cons are bigger because we all try to at least play with a single Joy-Con in our hands though. And I don't know if you're somebody like me that got some big old hands, I'm like, heck no, like we got to do something a little bit different though. And I like how they made them just a little bit bigger this time around though.
Yeah.
And of course, when they start showcasing off the colors and stuff as well, obviously it's the same blue and red that we had with the Nintendo Switch, but it's just kind of like a little bit more like an inverse color. And notice how they're rocking the solid black a little bit more so versus like what the neon blue and red Joy-Cons that we had at launch. And how, it was kind of the other way around though. So I guess that's just another way to kind of make sure that, hey, you ain't going to confuse these Joy-Cons for the original Joy-Cons on the Nintendo Switch 1. And you know what, Steven? This is something I didn't even think about at first. But you know how we know that these Joy-Cons are gonna be magnetized to the actual system itself?
Yes.
I didn't even think about the color scheme. The blue and the red, you could almost think about it as the polarity. Like, with magnetism and stuff, you usually think blue
Well,
and red. I didn't even think about
yeah,
that at first. I was
like
like, wait a
positive,
minute.
well,
Yeah, positive,
positive and
negative.
negative. Well, on the we actually seen a little look at the inside. The inside of the Switch, where the controllers go in, has little positive and negative symbols that you could line up.
And that was one of my biggest pet peeves was like, especially if you were trying to attach those things to the little Joy-Con things or like, with the straps and stuff, you accidentally will sometimes flip it around. And sometimes when I noticed that mess, and I did it the very first time when I first had my system, man, oh man, if you get it slid on there the wrong way, it's hard to get that thing popping off though. But at least now with it being magnets and it clearly has that plus and minus on the bottom now, I don't think you can really mess these up. At least not nearly as bad as with the rail systems. I'm like, good riddance to the rail system. Ugh.
Yeah, the rail system, it always feels so wobbly in the rails. While hopefully with this new system, since it literally has like a button that unlocks it and it's magnetized, I'm hoping that it's holds better. There's always the possibility it doesn't, but we'll see.
Yeah, and we will see on that. So here's hoping that at least that holds up a little bit better than what it was in the past, though. And now, this is the other thing I like, which they didn't necessarily confirm it in the trailer, though. But if you know about the leaks, whenever they showed the Joy Cons moving around, notice how they're on a flat surface and they're just kind of racing around. Like, a little spoiler alert, y'all. Joy-Con drift, it ain't gone. It certainly is not gone. You saw the way how they were drifting around on that table, flat
Joy-Con
surface or
Tokyo
whatever.
Drift.
But feel like that was like their low key way of saying, hey, one of the new features is you're going to be sliding these Joy-Cons around on flat surfaces with the whole mouse mechanic. It's not confirmed yet, but most of these leaks that we've been talking about this whole period of time, like they've been showing all of this off in this trailer though. So did you kind of pick up on that, Steven?
Yeah, they've been showing us a lot of small teases, are you okay with me talking about some of the leaks? Well, we already talked about them,
Well,
didn't
I
we?
mean, most of them at this point has been literally lining up. There's only
Yeah.
one thing with the button. We'll talk about the button here in a moment, though. But
Yeah,
anything
but
else?
the optical sensors, like we basically know, especially because we've seen the inside of the Joy-Con straps. Like when the Joy-Cons fly off of the straps, you could see the inside of those straps are hollow. So those straps definitely are leaving room open for the inside of the Joy-Con to actually reach the table. Whatever they're doing, I think they basically just confirmed the whole mouse mode thing.
Yeah, I think they
Whether
Yeah, they low key confirmed that mess.
Whether it's gonna be like dual Joy Cons, like doing two mice on the screen at the same time, or like a Wii setup. You could. Oh, by the way, I was thinking about this. Zard. This setup with the mouse and all that, you could easily replicate Wii games so much easier.
Yeah, I mean,
Especially
especially since we don't have
when you
the
gotta put
IR
the cursor.
cameras. Yeah.
Well, yeah, whenever you gotta put a cursor on screen, just pull out your mouse. Pull out your mouse. It might be a little different, but like yeah. And by the way, the IR camera is not on the right Joy-Con.
Yeah, and that was one of the things we'll circle back around to that in terms of like one of the notices they said in terms of like the compatibility with the Switch 1, Switch 2s though, but kind of keep that in the back of your mind though. But yeah, in terms of
Yeah.
all of the hardware stuff, that was almost just about it. And then obviously they did change the sound effect for, the way how the Joy-Cons pop in on the side. Like we're used to the
Well,
snap,
different snap.
and now it's not so much like a snap, but it's more like a clap. Like, I was trying to play around with it, and it's like, if you hold your hands kinda, like, stiff, pointed up, and then not put a lot of curve to it, but try to keep your hands as flat as possible, and then you just smack it. Like, that's what it kinda sounds like to me. I saw some, twisted jokes around there, like, some people be clapping other things, so I'll just leave it like that, though, but that's what it sounds like to me, honestly, though. Were you thinking the same thing, Steven?
Yeah, I especially because they connect on the sides. Like, yeah, like a clapping motion could be their new snapping motion. Like how for the Switch 2, the original Switch marketing, there was the iconic Switch snap.
Yeah, so I
With the
guess
clap.
whenever they come out in that first direct and whatever they do, like they ain't I don't think they're gonna snap, but they might just like do like a form of a clap, and that's just what they're gonna do with all these directs moving forward, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see what like the little animation is when the Switch 2 comes up. I'm assuming it's both Switch logo and the 2 kind of clapping in the position.
Yeah, at least that's the way how I kind of personally envision it as well, though. But yeah, just having that two pop up. Which now let's go ahead and just talk about the elephant in the room here. It is confirmed that this is the name of the system, Nintendo Switch 2. It's not the Super Switch or not a weird, Switch Pro or nothing like that. Which honestly, when I've been looking online and stuff, like some people have been kind of a bit upset that it wasn't called something on the lines of a Super Switch. I just think for Carl was a businessman and say, hey, look, if this has been working for like some of our competitors, like PlayStations and stuff, or like Eons now, they're going on their 30th anniversary. Like, hey, if this is going to be how we're going to treat our systems moving forward, like we're not splitting handheld and console no more. We got to keep this simple. And that way, the road just kind of paves its way, though. So, Switch 2, that's a fine name for me. I don't need anything fancy. Did that seem cool to you, Steven, or you thought it was going to be a little bit different?
Listen, man, people are getting so stupid about this name. It is the perfect name. We not only have we been calling it the Switch 2 for I think a year now. We've been calling it the Switch 2 for so long. It was Switch Pro, but then we slowly realized no, it's going to be Switch 2. So for however long we've been calling it the Switch 2. Nintendo does not want to have a Wii U situation again. They want people to clearly understand that it's a successor. What's the best way to do that? A 2. And then not we knew Nintendo Switch Online was being carried over. They specifically said that it will be, Nintendo Switch Online will be carrying over. Like there's no reason to change all the branding, change the online system, change this, change that. No reason to do all of that when you can just make it Nintendo Switch 2.
You know
When
what?
it,
I'm
if it
kind of
ain't
glad about
if it ain't
that.
broke, don't fix it.
Hey, I'm glad they didn't. Hey, you said it, man. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I literally have a whole series with you when we going through and playing our games. This called NSO versus. We can still keep that title. I was thinking about if we're gonna have to rebrand it or something though, but that
No,
works out perfectly fine.
we're good.
Nintendo kept it, so I'm like, okay, good. But yeah, so I'm okay with the Switch 2. I saw some other weird things how people just don't like the logo too. I saw some weird people out there like that as well. But I don't know. For me, it's nice, it's
Nintendo.
simple, and we should not have a Wii U scenario. That's just the the,
Well,
the best thing I'm thinking about right now.
I think the problem is that Nintendo fans were way, way too fucking used to having like a wacky premise. Like, oh, Nintendo's always doing like these wacky things. They're not just gonna do a Switch 2. It's too normal for them to do. I think people gotta understand that Nintendo doesn't want to go into that rut again. They're doing right now. They're doing the best that they possibly could be doing with no compromises. Remember during the Wii era, like they were doing really good during the Wii era, but at the same time they were kind of the casual audience was kind of dropping off. They
Oh
have a
yeah,
very
that second
very good
half.
balance right now. They have a very good balance of both casual and core gamers that play Switch. There's no reason to drop all that.
Yeah, absolutely no reason. So, like what we said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So we're all good in this camp in terms of keeping the name just like that though. And then they get a little funky with it. They start showcasing the system off in action, and then we managed to get one of the one and only games they kind of use in terms of this reveal trailer for the Switch 2, that being a brand new Mario Kart. We don't know if it's
Oh
Mario
boy.
Kart 9. We don't know if they're gonna do a little weird thing and call it Mario Kart 10 because Tour's Mario Kart 9 though. But regardless of say, for the sake of this video, we're just gonna go with Mario Kart 9, Steven, no. And if we manage to
Yes.
get some good stuff out of this trailer, and I'm pausing it right here on this still frame right here because whole freaking shoot. The first thing that jumped off in my mind was when I started counting the spots where you line up at in this track, there is 24 stinking slots up in this thing. I was like, hold on. That's double the amount of racers that you can have in a standard match in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. What on earth over here is cooking in this kitchen for Nintendo?
Yeah, it's 24 racers. Like, listen, I was watching the trailer, and with the scene where we see the 24 racers, the road is pretty like the road is pretty wide. Like during that track, this track looks like a long straightaway road. It could, of course, just be this track, but there's two other possibilities. Either 24 racers is going to be its own separate mode with its own separate tracks, which personally I would not really like that. And then the other possibility is that just 24 racers can be in any mode, like any track. Which,
Yeah,
oh my god, 24 racers is going to be chaotic as hell, and that's going to be great. I love when Mario Kart is chaotic.
you know what? And that was the other thing that kind of rose in the back of my mind too, Steven, is the fact that if we're gonna have 24 racers, well, I was almost thinking, would it be possible? You know, like how in Super Smash Brothers you can have 8 people playing at the same time. I was like, well, if you're gonna have 24 racers, is it possible to have 8 people playing on the same Nintendo Switch system? Since you have that many racers or whatever, though, I wouldn't put that out of the
Maybe,
realm of possibility. But then you have to start
I
thinking
don't
about
know.
how small those screen sizes get. So whatever. But LAN play, that is gonna be ridiculous hooking that mess up. Like
Well,
24?
yeah.
Oh
Well,
my
you, well,
goodness.
yeah, you would have six switches, each with four players in the worst possible scenario. Who knows, honestly, though? I think it should be fine. Like, Nintendo's gonna support it either way, the LAN, because, they do tournaments and stuff with Mario Kart still. Um, 24 players, if it is a separate mode, that's still pretty fun. That's still going to be really fun. Obviously, Mario Kart's fun, but like I think just making it part of the core experience is fine. There's no reason for it not to be, right? Like I don't really think there's no necessary balance reason to why there only needs to be 12 players. Like you're still going to have your items that people can get in the back. You're still going to have all that. Blue Shell is still going to be just as impactful at the first place. Like I don't think having 24 players really messes anything up. Really, the only thing I could think of, Zard, is that they will either have to make the tracks a little wider or have to have more branching paths.
Yeah, I think just having the scope of because we saw this before when they moved from Mario Kart, roughly on GameCube or so, and then they moved it up to Wii, where it's like, hey, you went from just having basic 8 players up to 12. And we just noticed the size of the courses in terms of the scale. It just naturally got bigger. I think we're just going to see the next iteration on that in the series. Like we're just going from 12 and doubling up to 24. There's just going to be a lot more space on them roads though, because I already saw a couple of memes already just referencing cars. It's like, hey, you're just going to have somebody pull some kind of bull crap in like third place. And it's going to take everybody in the back, and you're just going to be in 24th place trying to navigate all that mess though. I'm ready for the chaos that already ensues though, because we know there's going to have to be some kind of a big difference between 8 Deluxe, which already sold really well and stuff, and still is going to be, be able to do some numbers on the Switch 2 itself, though. But, for the longest time, me along with, handful of other people that had the Wii U when it was out, we've been with this system for almost or not the system. We've been with this game for over a decade. So we were long overdue for a brand new Mario Kart game. So that in itself, this kind of gets me really excited though. However, that is the only one game that they managed to showcase off in this trailer, though. Was there anything else you wanted to say on Mario Kart?
I think I think there's a lot more we can say on Mario Kart. Sorry, but like
Oh no,
for
oh no, go
one,
ahead.
I don't for one, the stylized look of all the racers, you've seen that, right?
Yes, Donkey Kong sticks out like a sore thumb. Like, what did they do to my man over here?
He
Like,
looks great.
man, this dude looked like he came straight out of the '90s. Like, literally, he looks like he came out of Donkey Kong '94.
Which
Now,
I think that's
I saw
great.
some people say that they based it on the movie design. I'm seeing it more so from like the '94
Well,
game.
to be fair, the movie design kind of blended his old design in with the new one. So yeah, the movie design was taking inspiration from the '90s design as well. Either way, I think it looks pretty good, and it's obviously going to be a lot more expressive. Because Donkey Kong isn't really necessarily expressive with the new look.
No, I kind of like the way how he looks now, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
but I think both are good. It's going to be fine, and I think it fits more in line with like how all the other characters look in this game. Which we've seen so many characters in this game. They all look so good. All of them look just like the 2D artwork, and it's also got like the squash and stretch animation, little bouncy animation like Mario Wonder had, just from the little clips we got. I don't know if you have like pictures next to you, but Bowser especially looks so good. Peach and Daisy look pretty different. They have their hair down, which is a first for Mario Kart, or at least it's apparently ever since Mario Kart. Apparently since Mario Kart Super Circuit, they've always had their hair up
Mhm.
in the racing games, which is I never noticed that. But yeah,
I'll go out here and go and stretch out on a limb. If we're gonna have 24 people racing in this thing, and you can think back, goodness, 8 Deluxe had a pretty big roster, but most of them were Koopalings. So go back to the Wii where you had like Funky Kong and all of them and stuff like they had a
at
big
least
roster though,
24.
but 24 people racing at one time, ideally you want to have everybody have a different character and stuff. And
Oh,
hear me out. This is just a theory, but hear me out. Notice how in throughout Mario Kart's history, or at least up until a point, we had the new courses that always get added into each game, and then you had the retro style courses. What if they do the same thing but with characters? So you have like a more modern version of Donkey Kong, but then you have the retro style one. Hence, that's what we saw in this trailer right here, one
yeah.
that looks like from Donkey Kong 94. And then it was interesting how you said the thing with Princess Peach, because when I was looking at Princess Peach Square On, I don't know why, but just the front of her face reminded me of her look back in the Super Nintendo version, but like in a 3D space.
Well,
I don't
yeah,
know if,
that's what the
yeah,
artwork. Have you seen like Nintendo's 2D artwork even to this day?
yeah, so that's the vibe I was kinda getting, so I was like, I wouldn't put it past them if they say, "Hey, look," I don't know if they're gonna call them as skins or whatever though, but, like, we had different revisions of these characters depending on if you kinda want a newer look or you kinda want a more of a retro
Yeah.
style look, though. That's a theory I'm just gonna throw out there. I'll see if it
All right.
sticks, but
So, oh,
uh
sorry. What were you
oh,
saying?
no, go ahead. I was just saying, we'll see if it sticks, and if it does
Okay.
stick, you heard it here first.
So from the trailer, I'm just gonna go through these names really quick. We did see a decent amount of characters, including Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, Rosalina, Luigi, Toad, Koopa Troopa, Shy Guy, Toadette, King Boo, Lakitu, Baby Mario. Someone apparently seen Baby Rosalina. Wario, Waluigi, Donkey Kong, Bowser. These are all pretty safe picks. Pauline is pretty well seen. Like Pauline is in this trailer,
Hey,
so
that's
that's
good
cool.
because like what we saw her in. I'll imagine most of the characters we got in Tour, which I guess carried over in 8 Deluxe with the DLC and stuff. Like I think those are all safe bets.
And either way, like yeah, that's a lot of characters so far. And then just besides that, I think it's a safe bet to say that the game will have 24 characters if it's got 24 races like racing.
At a minimum, I expect more than that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If 24 players are going to be per race, I'm assuming we're going to get a lot more characters. This could be like, Mario Kart 8 was the biggest game yet in terms of tracks. This game could be big in terms of the roster and just the quality of it.
Mhm.
Nintendo's definitely gonna put the Koopalings in again, because why fucking not?
Hey, you got to fill up 24 characters somehow. Hey, that's already getting you like a
That's
quarter of the
definitely
way there.
yeah. Either way, you got a lot of stuff. I don't think it's gonna be Nintendo Kart, but who knows? Maybe they will have a lot more crossover characters if they want to get that number up.
Oh yeah,
But
there
we'll
was there's
see.
like Link, the Inkling, Villager. Yeah, yeah. No, it's gonna get up
That I
there.
don't know. It could be Nintendo Kart, but like I feel like Mario Kart 9 is just a much safer pick, and like I would prefer Mario Kart 9. I kind of like keep all the crossover stuff to Smash,
Hmm.
or at least like the
Hey,
big major crossovers. Like I seen people saying, that we need to get like we need to get like as many crossovers as Smash gets. Like every Nintendo series all in Mario Kart. No, we got some F-Zero already. We got Yoshi's Island. We got Splatoon and some other things. Just put like one more in. Maybe put Arms in.
mm. Hey, hear me out, Steven. While we're
Yeah.
talking about Mario Kart and stuff, Baby Park, 24
Oh God.
racers. Heck
Don't
freaking yes. Sign
no.
me up. Sign me up.
No,
Nintendo, you
if
best
they
not
bring
sleep
back
on this idea. I don't care if it's on there on day one. It better be on their DLC or some way. I need my baby part with 24 stinking racers.
no no
That's
no
just
no no.
chaos incarnate
Jordan,
right there. Holy shoot.
they can bring back custom items and we can have 24 blue shells all being pelted at once.
Oh, oh my good gracious. Even if it were the standard red shells, that's oh my gosh, that's oh man. Hey, then you might as well just call this Mario Kart Survival at that point, though, because oh my
Yeah.
goodness, oh man, you thought getting Mario Kart it was already bad with 12 people. I can't wait to see them clips online, man. Like this is gonna blow up.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna be excited for this mess.
And one other thing I can say about the trailer, um, is that like we see it in pretty low quality, obviously, because it's like off-screen footage kind of, but it looks visually pretty nice. Like it doesn't I don't really see any like in this trailer, I don't really see that many like jaggy edges or this and that. Like it all looks pretty good quality.
Yeah, and I know
And
some
like
people
all
were
around
like,
the
because of the
models.
DLSS and stuff and the upscaling and stuff, like obviously we ain't gonna see like how good this game is really gonna look until we get like them showing it full screen and stuff and trying to, obviously through the YouTube suppression and stuff, let that kind of speak a little bit more so though, than versus them just trying to primarily show off this system though. So for people that are kind of out there like sticklers for graphics, you ain't gonna get nothing off of this game, at least not yet.
Yeah, either way though, the game looks pretty good just from what we've seen. I see people saying it looks a little similar to Mario Kart 8, and I'm like, I don't know, it's a Mario Kart game. Of course it does. It's gonna look
I was about to say,
similar.
what were you expecting at that point?
But
I mean,
but yeah, we have a tiny little hint at what the gimmick may be. So in this course, which this course is like a bit of a desert, it kind of reminded me of fucking Radiator Springs from Cars.
oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. I mean, yes, the whole circuit's called like what Mario and Luigi,
It
something,
says
something.
Mario. It
Mario
just
Brothers,
says
right?
Mario Bros. Circuit, right?
Circuit,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which that could be the name of the track. It could be the Mario Circuit of this game, but it does not look like a Mario Circuit. We see like a little Yoshi burger joint, which is a nice little prop. And the main thing, honestly, is that we see a little gas station parked next to that little gas station. Inside of that gas station, you can see an unfamiliar item, like some kind of like glowing orange item, which someone kind of looked at all of the cars, like all of the cars for Mario and the gang. They all have these little kind of like almost like tanks in the middle of them. In between the wheels, you have these like large tanks.
Oh, like that big red circle one. I got it on the screen right now. It's not zoomed in or nothing, but I
Yeah,
see what you're talking about.
people are saying that there's gonna maybe be a fuel tank system where throughout the race you can collect the special fuel. Well, maybe it gives you a big boost. Maybe it does something special, but like this gaining this fuel is going to be the new mechanic of this game. Either like a skill based mechanic that you could go for as an alternative to items. Maybe you can either go for items to try to win luck in your favor, or go for this new mechanic. But we'll see. I think it's definitely going to have some sort of gimmick. Every Mario Kart has had one since Wii. Obviously, Wii was just kind of like the Wii wheel and the motion controls. 7 was the gliding, absolutely, and then 8 was the anti gravity. So we'll see what Mario Kart Nine's gimmick is. We don't even know if it's gonna be called Mario Kart 9 yet, but whatever it's gonna be, I think this is gonna be the Switch 2's launch title.
Yeah, I fully expect that at this point though, because if you go back and look at Nintendo's well, let's look at the past few systems that they did home console wise. They typically always like to put out one big single player game and one big multiplayer game with all their launches. You go back and look at I was about to say Mario Kart. Go back and look at on the Nintendo Wii. You had Twilight Princess as a single player game, and you turn around and had
Wii
Wii
Sports.
Sports as the multiplayer game. Then you look over here at the Wii U. You had Nintendo Land as kind of like the multiplayer game, and then in terms of the single player, you have Super Mario Brothers U. Then you turn
To
over here and
be
you look at,
fair,
and then you look at the Switch, and then with the Switch you had Breath of the Wild, and then you had it. What's about to say? Yeah, everybody want to Switch. Yeah,
1-2 Switch is fucking stupid. I don't really want to count that, but fine.
I mean it's the only other Nintendo related
I,
thing.
I
I
get
said
I
everybody
get
want
what
to
you're
Switch.
saying.
It's
I
just
get
want
what you're
to
saying.
Switch, but yeah.
I do think Nintendo might have some sort of new IP at launch. Maybe, maybe Nintendo's gonna have like a new IP as like a single player. Or Nintendo might have a pack-in game that's single player. Something, I don't know. Nintendo hasn't done an actual packing game since the Wii. Nintendo Land was packed in only with the deluxe set for Wii U.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't
I don't know.
whatever it
We'll
is, I
see.
feel like it's a new IP. I don't
Because you
think it's
gotta,
anything that we might have already thought of or expected. Because you can't do the same thing with a Zelda game because we're kind of already in between
yeah.
big major
Because
3D Zelda. So that's out the
Metroid,
window.
Metroid Prime 4 is
Well,
there, but
hold on. Metroid Prime 4 could be it. I don't know what I'm talking about right now. No, I
no, I
I, I
don't.
expect I expect Metroid Prime 4 because I've been saying this for the longest time. I expect it to drop out on the Switch and the Switch 2 on day and date. And
I
now we still don't have a release date for Metroid Prime 4 at this point. We just know at some point in 2025. So I'm fully expecting when we get more info for the Switch 2, that might be the game, Steven. That might be the
That's
single
fair.
player game.
I just don't see Nintendo cannibalizing Metroid Prime like that. Especially when that's a game that people have been waiting for so
I don't know
long.
if that's cannibalizing when it's
I
one
think
of the
so.
first 2 Switch 2 games, should I say, that you will have out on the system. It'll be like one of the oldest games, and it can capitalize from everybody that's moving on over. I don't
Well,
and it's
no,
already gonna be on the basic Switch too. So
they could.
in terms of basic sales, like, that literally could be the best that you can do for a Metroid game, period, point blank.
Listen, I completely understand like 1-2 Switch and Breath of the Wild releasing on the same day. Because 1-2 Switch is like a game that you could take a break from Breath of the Wild and play like 2 hours of 1-2 Switch and then never pick it up again. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like they're very pick up and play games. Mario Kart is not a pick up and play game. Mario Kart, people are gonna be playing that all fucking day. It's gonna be hard to pull people away from Mario Kart for Metroid Prime 4 is gonna be a single player adventure, maybe with a multiplayer mode if we're lucky. If you ask me, Zard, I think it's extremely likely for Metroid Prime 4, if the system releases in June, for Metroid Prime 4 to come out in like July or August. It will come out
Unless
right after.
Unless, Steven, this comes out a month later, like what 8 Deluxe did, and we still had Metro Prime
That's
4
what
on
I'm
launch
saying.
day,
Yeah,
and then
July
we
or
have some
August.
other multiplayer game on day one, but like a month later, then here comes
Well,
Mario Kart.
Mario Kart might not be a launch title, but like I feel like they would be smart to do that. We'll see.
We'll see. I just expect it within like the first month or two,
Yeah, but
regardless of whatever happens.
Mario Kart 9 or whatever, yeah, we're gonna call it 9. Mario Kart 9 right now is the only Switch 2 exclusive that we know about. It's just a fact. Like, it is the only Switch 2 game that we even have a single glimpse of. Because Legends ZA and Metroid Prime 4 are gonna be Switch games at the end of the day. They were developed as Switch games.
Yeah. And if we're lucky, hopefully there is a Switch 2 version, but no cards
I
is
think
off the
so.
table just yet. Now we're
Well,
going into speculation territory, but
I definitely think Switch 2 will get, like, it will enhance Metroid Prime at least. Like that type of game, just looking at Metroid Prime 4 is the type of game that you could make look so much better. That game looked beautiful, by the way. Like Metroid Prime 4 looked amazing just on regular Switch, but on Switch 2 it could be even better.
yeah.
We'll see honestly what they plan on doing. At this point, by the way, I guess we can start talking about backwards compatibility, right?
Alright, so okay, so I guess you're done with the Mario Kart, at least for now, though.
Well, yeah, well,
We'll
yeah,
talk
like
about this more in the podcast,
yes.
maybe this upcoming weekend if we got, extra time or something else happens to pop up on the scene though, but we'll keep it for the Mario Kart stuff. Now, in terms of the backwards compatibility stuff, I like how they had this whole entire screen, and when I was watching this live in the moment from the bed, the moment I woke up, I was like, "Oh shoot, that's a lot of text to be squinting at so early in the morning though." But they did state that yes, we're going to put it into layman's term for everybody. Switch 2 will be perfectly backwards compatible with nearly, almost, but not quite 100% of all Switch party titles, which, I had some of my other friends like, hey, why is this not necessarily the case? And I was going to explain about it now. There's reasons why they have to say this. And you mentioned about it earlier in this recording. There's not even an IR sensor on the bottom of that right Joy-Con, which means any game that used it, and a couple of games are coming to mind, and Steven, let me know if there's any other ones you thought of though. But 1-2 Switch was a game that used it. And I think WarioWare was it Move It or Shake It or something. But one of those
Nintendo Labo.
WarioWare, yeah, and Nintendo Labo was a third one. Was there anything else?
There's definitely more. Ring Fit Adventure basically relies on the IR sensor and the railing of the Joy-Con.
Oh, you know what? I was thinking you could use Ring Fit if you use the other Joy-Con as a
Yes.
substitute though.
Well,
But
that's the thing.
that would be the only way
So
if
here's
they
the
let you
thing,
use your
Zard.
older controller. But
WarioWare did basically need the IR sensor, but there's something on Nintendo's website I want to talk about real quick. On Nintendo's website, like for Switch 2 right now, it does say you can play Switch 2 exclusive games as well as Nintendo Switch games. And in the background, I don't know if you've seen this, they actually show a bunch of games in the background that can be played on Switch 2.
mm,
I'm gonna go through all of the ones that I can recognize quick, okay?
all right, go ahead and run it.
Alright. Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, Pikmin 4, Nintendo Switch Sports, Splatoon 3, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Metroid Prime, Fire Emblem Engage, and I seen it on the actual like website when I was on my laptop or not my laptop on my PC earlier. WarioWare Move It was on that list. So I'm pretty
Hmm.
sure because I don't know the here's what the exact wording is. They say certain Nintendo Switch games may not be supported on or fully compatible. So there's gonna be some games that have compatibility issues, aka the IR sensor. You'll have to have old Joy-Cons for that. But there's a possibility that there's just gonna be some games that just don't work on Switch 2, which is what I'm worried about.
Which I feel like, and I think even when you go back and look at, let's just pull up an example. When we were transitioning from the PS4 to the PS5, even when they said their backwards compatibility with their stuff, even they said like 99.9 something 99 or whatever though. Most of
Well,
your
I think
meaningful games, your third parties, and mostly all your first party games, all of that stuff moved over. They always have to say that because some things might not necessarily line up. depending on whatever game it
Well,
is.
yeah. No, I guarantee every single Nintendo first party is safe. I think every
As long as you
Nintendo
got the
first party
hardware
besides
for it, yes.
besides Labo, because remember, Labo literally will not work because of the new bigger
Oh,
screen.
yeah, the bigger screen, the size of it, the Joy-Cons and stuff, so that's completely out of the window. If you wanna mess
Like
around with that, you
you
had to
will
have the
need an
original
older
Switch.
Switch, which is
Yes.
not a big deal, obviously. Like it's not gonna be hard to get an original Switch. They sold 140 million of these,
Yeah.
so that like not a big deal, obviously. Some things here though, I've kind of given up on the whole remasters thing. I do not think Nintendo is gonna sell older games as remasters. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are on this list of games. Mario Party Jamboree is there, Xenoblade 3 is there, Animal Crossing New Horizons is also there. A lot of games are here that you'd expect to get like some kind of update. Kirby and the Forgotten Land, like Scarlet and Violet are here, which by the way, I don't know if you remember this. The Game Freak hacker said that he didn't want to leak all of the files on Scarlet and Violet because of Switch because it would reveal details about Switch 2.
Mm.
Which I think that kind of tells me that these games are going to get updates, or at least most of Nintendo's first party outings will get updates on Switch 2 rather than uh, this and that. Because Nintendo, remember, Nintendo is not only marketing to a generation of people that own the Switch, they're also marketing to a generation of people that are going to get Switch 2 as their first Nintendo console, which is a possibility. Switch 2 is going to be some people's first Nintendo console, and they missed out on every Switch game. You never know at this rate. Some
Yeah,
people might have just been waiting. And at that point, if you know, Nintendo picked the perfect thing. Remember what we were talking about earlier about how Switch 2 is the perfect name? And they don't have to like recall any of those old games. They don't even have to reprint them with new cases. They can just keep selling Nintendo Switch games for the same full price and people will play them on Switch too.
yep, and that
It's
was one of the things I was looking at was the fact that because of the fact that the branding's so simple, it's literally switched to the Switch 2. Like what you said, there's gonna be new audiences of people that literally will be picking up this system as their first dedicated system as a Nintendo fan. They might be 7, they might be 8 years old, this might be their first one, and you have all of that back catalog to be able to pull from all those first party games though. Like Nintendo is setting themselves up to have a very great and solid start though. And the other cool thing is since this is going to use the same cartridges, the same format, they've been bolstering this Nintendo account system for the longest time. There should be some revamps done with the eShop just in general though, but I like how everything, even digitally, is gonna be able to carry on over to your Switch too though. I seen some people like, "Hey, do you gotta put this stuff in a micro SD card and, just go ahead and move it and get
well,
it
yeah,
prepared."
it's
I'm like, "We don't know exactly what they might wanna do with the SD card things because games are getting bigger, whether you like it or not, especially if you own, like, another console, like an Xbox console or a PlayStation thing. Some of those files are just really big. And based upon the architecture that the Switch is going off of, it seems like you're still gonna be able to pop in a Switch cartridge, presumably a Switch 2 cartridge as well, and be able to play it straight off the system. You don't have to worry about actually downloading it to the system for a physical copy. But these file sizes, I can imagine, going to get a little bit bigger, especially for your third party companies out there, though. So they might try to change up some stuff with the micro SD card. And I've been seeing some little rumblings about a micro SD, like an Express like thing. Keep an eye on that as we get closer to when Nintendo wants to fully give out all the details for the system though, but I figure I'll just throw that in here somewhere.
yeah. I'm very happy specifically about backwards compatibility also being for physical games. Like, we can just put in your old cartridges, which is what I was worried about. I was worried that there was going to be digital backwards compatibility, but maybe due to some way that the cartridge slot was changed that they might not have had physical. But no, it's going to have physical and digital backwards compatibility, which I am so happy about, honestly.
Yeah, I'm glad they're moving that mess forward. because I mean it's about time. Obviously, moving from the Wii U to the Switch, it made sense. You had to kind of do away with it because you moved from disc to cartridge. But at least now Nintendo has them all set up perfectly well to where hey, we can just move this mess forward and rinse, wash, and repeat, and we'll see how long this formula
And
manages to take us.
Nintendo's continued support of these games also hopefully means the servers will not shut down and that these online games will stay online.
Oh no, you
Like
can't. That would be like Sony saying, "Hey, we're gonna shut down stuff for PS4." No. Like you can still
that's what
go
I'm
up into
saying,
their
yeah.
stuff and and still buy
And
those games. So
and by the
no, it,
way, that also basically confirms that like, NSO, like all of the emulators will be there at launch.
yeah, no, that mess all
So
has to be there on day one. So we're
so
not doing a
if
grand
you're
reboot for that.
Yeah, if you're a new Nintendo fan, you have so much shit to play. You have all of the Nintendo Switch catalog, and then if you are like new to gaming in general or you're like a kid, you have the entire back catalog of the NES, SNES, N64, Game Boy, and Game Boy Advance all at your fingertips. Like,
Hmm.
then like you got Game Pass on other systems, but for only even just $20 a year, you're still getting NES, SNES, and Game Boy.
Yeah, pretty good value right there. So
Well, it really depends because we don't know the price of the system. We'll speculate about everything else. I'm getting ahead of myself.
yeah, getting a
Like
little
we'll
get a little
speculate
bit.
later on, but like either way, price of the system aside, there's gonna be a lot of interesting stuff to talk about in the coming weeks. Just about like now that we actually just have details. It's nice to have confirmed the details and stop saying if this, if that. At the end of the
Absolutely.
day, like yeah, some people are a little underwhelmed that it looks exactly like what we thought it was going to look like. I am happy that it looks exactly like we thought it was going to look like. So we don't have to do this bullshit again where we restart every generation because Nintendo is not smart. We have a new generation. We're not going backwards. We're just moving forwards.
Yeah, moving forwards, and that's honestly the way how we got to keep moving. And speaking about moving forward, we managed to get the it's not a release date for the system, and it's not what a lot of people were expecting when they saw this trailer. But we have the confirmed date for the next major Nintendo Direct, and a heavy emphasis on Nintendo Switch 2 because it's right below the Nintendo Direct branding and it's slated for April 2nd, not February 4th. I saw some people confused about that. Some people were watching the Europe and the Japanese versions of it, and they were like, "Whoa, shoot, that's coming up quick." No. Nintendo got you hook, line, and sinker. Like they're gonna milk this thing for all it's worth, though. Because yes, April 2nd. Luckily, you don't have to wait till the middle or late April. It's basically at the very beginning. So if you really want to throw it in the back of your mind, you can almost think into March, and you're about basically there though. But from the time that we got this video, that's roughly about 2.5 months from now, though. And man,
And
oh
then
man.
yeah, that's gonna be big. And it's on my day off. It's on a Wednesday. So I get to
Oh, is it?
watch
Oh, that
this.
is on a Wednesday. I didn't even look at what day of the week that's actually.
Yes,
Okay.
it's on April 2nd is on a Wednesday. They're gonna reveal the time later. But either way, even though I'm off, I'm hoping they do it later in the day, like the original Switch presentation. That was at night.
Kind of
Switch
hope. I
presentation.
hope. I hope so
We'll
too,
see.
because I know, knowing my luck and my own work schedule and stuff, like I'm gonna be occupied during most of the day. And so you got to think about what lines up best for your two biggest
Japan,
audiences, and that's usually
Japan,
Japan
US.
and US. US for the sheer number, and Japan because that's the home country right there, though.
Well,
So
if you're
a, a,
thinking,
a nighttime presentation or roughly evening ish, I think is perfect.
yeah, which the Switch presentation I think ended around like 11:30, my time, which would be 10:30 your time. It ended around that. I don't know. We don't even know how long this is gonna be. If I had to make a guess, probably like an hour. Because remember, this presentation is not gonna be like a normal Nintendo Direct.
Oh
It's
no,
gonna
this
go
is
over all the details of the Switch. It's gonna go over all the details. It's gonna give us the price. It's gonna actually go in depth about like features like the mouse feature and the C button and this and that. Which, oh boy, the C button we'll talk about next time because the C button's still a fucking mystery.
oh good gracious, yeah. So
And then yeah, also they gotta go over all the games. It's gonna be big.
yeah, that's this is gonna be the mother of all mother Nintendo Directs. You like what you said. the console is going to be the biggest emphasis because we got to know about pricing, all of the features, like what you said with that C button. They were hiding some stuff. You got to get all those details out the door. Then you got to talk about the actual Switch 2 games, which the only thing we got confirmed is Mario Kart 9. I imagine they'll probably talk about at least four other games, at a minimum, four other games to carry you for, I would say, the first year that the system is out on the shelves. And then on top of it, some of those games might also just be a standard vanilla Switch version where it's like, hey, we're not going to leave all Nintendo Switch owners, whether you have a one or a two, out high to dry. So you might get updated information on games that could be a dual SKU for Switch and Switch 2, or could be just a low budget thing for Switch, but you can obviously play it on Switch 2. And that would be games such as like your at that point, Donkey Kong and Xenoblade Chronicles X will already be out on the market though. But it could be a Pokemon Legends ZA scenario though, or it could be a Metroid Prime 4. So they got a lot of crap to cover. And I would imagine this, yeah, I would say somewhere in the range of an hour or an hour and a half to go back and look at that original Switch presentation, Steven, to see exactly how long that one was in terms of like the runtime of it, though. Well, I'm fully expecting something on the lines of that. Just maybe in a more directish format instead of like that might have been the closest thing that we had to like a showcase, like back like the old E3 days where they were actually standing on stages and stuff like that was probably the closest we had in that January presentation in
Yeah.
2017. So I don't know, maybe this one will feel a little bit more directish, where it's like more streamlined,
Well,
and
they're
it.
calling it a direct. Yeah.
So that's what I'm kind of expecting at this point, though.
It's gonna be interesting. I'm very excited for that. But like, we'll see. It's what, 2.5 months away, kind of around
Yeah,
then. 2.5 months away, which sounds like a lot, but we waited this long. We can wait a little more.
yeah. So for everybody that got their pants in a tizzy, hey, let's calm the freak down. Let's calm the freak down. Nintendo's gonna come with the goods just a little bit later on, though. And then that leads us into the next little bit, and I think this might almost be the last thing they showed off in this trailer, though. They said that they have a series of hands-on events being held around the world, and literally, they got three locations here for at least us here in the U.S. They
Yep.
got one in Dallas, they got one in New York, and they got one way over there in California.
Guess where I'm going?
And Steven, for the sake of my podcast and stuff, we gotta have boots on the ground. All right. So I'm sending you in the battle. I
Well,
need you there.
here's
I
the
need you
thing.
there to do the event. I need your camera. I need you looking good. All right. You can't be looking like no slouch or something like that. You just roll out of the bed.
Okay.
I need something because I need that footage.
Can I say something? The registration opens tomorrow at 3 my time. They're going to It's a free to enter randomly selected drawing. I
Oh,
might not
randomly
get in.
selected. Oh
Yes.
man.
I better get fucking lucky. But it's going on over the course of 3 days. So hopefully, over those three
Oh.
days, over
Hmm.
those 3 days, over how many different times that they're going to be letting people in, I at least get in on one. Because I don't know if I told you this. I actually went to go try out the Switch in January of 2017 in New York City.
You never told me about that mess. Oh,
January
alright,
15th, I think, 2017. I went to go try out the Switch.
alrighty. Well, if you already did it with the Switch, you ought to be destined to do it for the Switch too.
I'm
If this
hoping
is
so, yeah.
anything with the sign up forms for like that online beta test that we have for the Switch, what was it, like several months ago or whatever though, that mess is gonna be going hot. So be there 2 minutes before at a minimum. And let me know if you manage to get up in that mug.
I'll be taking pictures and videos and all that. I'll be taking whatever I can. Yeah.
Alrighty. So
If I get in. I don't want to
if you
promise.
get in, if you get in, but you better get in for the sake of the show. Anyway, though, I digress though. But rest assured, that's really cool that you have all these hand-on events, and notice how they're all happening after April 2nd. So all the news is going to be officially put out there first, and then you're gonna have the hands-on preview demo events though. And and this kind of led on to some speculation in terms of like, well, when is Nintendo gonna drop this system? Because a lot of people were thinking, oh, they might drop this mess in March or April. If we're
No.
getting the info in the month of April, ain't no way that obviously we can get it anytime before that, let alone pre-orders. Pre-orders can never happen until we actually know a concrete release
The
date and stuff
system
like that. So
they're
I'm
doing
thinking
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah. So I was thinking in terms of a release date, I'm leaning on the month of June because I think 2 months, I think it's an adequate amount of time, depending on where you do place it in June. I think it might be in the middle or maybe towards the end of June or whatever, though. I think
I
that's the window
think
frame that they're probably gonna launch this new system.
if you ask me, I think it's early June because they can get the system out before Summer Games Fest, and then Summer Games Fest can have Lord knows how many announcements that are coming with the Switch too.
I say middle. I'm just gonna break it right in the middle of
I
June
think
because I think that
well,
Summer Game Fest is literally almost in the middle of June. So I'm
well
like, hmm,
Nintendo always does a direct in June, and I think there's a possibility that they could do a June direct right after the system releases. Just as like here's your we release the system, here's what's going to be coming up over the next couple months, type of deal.
I don't know. It depends on how big the direct will be in the month of April. Because otherwise they can skip over June if April's just that thick and then wait till September and do the traditional September direct at that point though. And I think that would
We'll
be
see.
perfectly fine. So I don't know.
Because
We'll see on that.
because this April direct isn't really going to be like a true direct, you know what I mean? Like it's going to be majorly focused on the Switch too. It's not going to be like a just a regular direct where we get updates on old games and new games mixed in there. It's going to be mostly focused on the new. This direct is not going to have any games coming to old, the regular Nintendo Switch in it, I bet.
Yeah.
Besides like Metroid Prime 4 will definitely be there. So we'll see. The Nintendo Switch 2 Direct is definitely the most interesting news we got out of this that is a surprise. Like that was completely a surprise. Nothing about that was known. Leakers were saying that there was going to be a big event in May, but it's in April, so
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say, yeah,
well,
that like what you said, that was the biggest thing because now we're almost getting to the point where we're going to kind of wrap up our thoughts and kind of give our overall takes on what
yeah, we're
we
basically
saw in this
done.
trailer. But since a lot of this stuff was legit well, not confirmed, but a lot of these leaks turned out to actually be true, hence the name of a leak. Did that tamper your expectation or not expectation? Did it tamper your excitement for the reveal when they finally showcased that off to you, Steven? I want to hear your thoughts first and
Okay.
I'll explain mine.
For me, not necessarily. I personally was hoping that they would at least show like one third party game. You know how the original Switch trailer had Skyrim just to kind of show like a big profile game running on it.
Hmm.
I think we should have gotten like a high profile game running on this system just as little test footage. But like we'll get that. Obviously during the presentation, the direct will get some kind of third party games. The big rumor back in a couple weeks ago was Elden Ring. That would be a great showcase at this thing's potential.
Hmm.
Either way, there's a lot of games that could come to this thing with the specs that have been leaked, which they'll go more in depth on when we actually get to the presentation. I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm very excited, but I'm going to have to temper my expectations. In regards to the actual reveal, I liked how we already talked about it. I liked how the console actually transformed into the new one. It was quite funny, honestly. And the Mario Kart 9 footage was very delightful. So, in my opinion, the leaks all they did for me was just drum up excitement, and it's not like that excitement is over. People are acting like the excitement is done. No, it's only just begun, really. Now that the system is officially revealed, Nintendo can talk about it, and they don't have to stop acting like nothing's up in the horizon. Like before this, they had absolutely nothing with a scheduled release date after March.
Yeah. Okay, that's kinda what I was thinking you might say. And at least for me personally, when I was looking at all of this mess, I was like, "Okay, seeing all the leaks and stuff, yes, it did take away from the I would consider as a wow factor." Like, I was like, "Oh, shoot, that's how they're handling this?" Like, obviously, that was gone for me, though. But the fact that they still, in Nintendo fashion, dropped this trailer out of nowhere and literally, dropped it while we were asleep. So you woke up first thing in the morning, it's like, "Oh, it's already out." Oh, freaking shoot. Like, okay, they had me in that regard. I ain't gonna lie though. But
I
I like how they showcase off the system. And once again, it's not every day of the week. where you manage to get a brand new Nintendo system out on the market though. Like the inner kid in me is like, oh shoot, now it's time to get a little bit excited and stuff like that though. Cause new console releases are few and far between, usually once every 6, 7, or maybe even in this case, like 8 years. So like in that regard, I'm still excited for the system. Maybe not nearly as much as what I probably would have if I hadn't known any of this information though. But I do like having bits of confirmed pieces of knowledge where now we can actually say, hey, here's an image that we can slap on all of our thumbnails now. Now we got some actual talking points. And then the people that usually avoid all the leaks, now we can actually get them in the conversation now and be like, okay, because now they actually got something real and tangible to believe and hold into though. So overall, I like this trailer. It's solid, gave us all the information. I guess the only damper is how much longer we gotta wait to get the part 2 for the info though, but for what they did, that's all I really was expecting.
It's kind of similar, we got the Switch revealed in October and then we got the presentation in January. It's basically the same amount of time, Zard.
Yeah,
Like
roughly,
two and a
yeah.
half months really. It's honestly just 2.5 months again. So people can wait. We'll be fine. And it's not like, in that little time span that, November and December into January, we did get some news about Switch 2 or Switch 1. So don't worry, there's gonna be your fair share of leaks and the rumors and speculation about the Switch 2 Direct coming.
Oh,
We'll
yeah.
have plenty. We've been talking about Switch 2 for at least a fucking year, and now we're this close.
This close. Yeah, because lo and
I'm
behold, I
very
just find it
excited.
funny because, like, I think it was what I'm trying to remember. I need to pull up the tweet. But when Nintendo said that statement where they said, "Hey, we're gonna announce it within this upcoming fiscal year," I wanna say that was a statement that might have released around April or so, and leave it to Nintendo to wait a whole entire year to really give us the meat and potatoes for the system. Like, oh man, that's just Nintendo fashion right there, though. But overall, good, solid trailer, Nintendo. Good, solid trailer, though. Now, Steven, was there any final thoughts you wanted to say before we close out this discussion for today?
Nah, I I've said it. I've said my piece. It's been a wild day. I'd seen this goddamn announcement when I was in a bathroom break at work. That was my exposure. I woke up, seen nothing, went to work, and then on my bathroom break, I'm just like, wait, what?
That's wild to see that in your bathroom break. I was watching that from the comfort of my own bed. Oh, good night.
It would have been nice, honestly. I'll be
Mm.
watching that Switch presentation in the comfort of my own bed, thank God.
All righty. Well, Steven, let the fine people know where they can find you at.
You can find me on twitter.com/Steven Jr. 1231 or at Steven Jr. 1231, or you can find me on a collab channel I do with some friends on YouTube called Spaghetti Disco.
Alrighty, and that's gonna basically do it in terms of today's discussion for the Nintendo Switch 2. It's finally here. Everybody can shut up now. Everybody can apologize to my boy over there, Nate. Y'all are about to get the pitchforks and stuff and treat the man just like Shrek. Y'all need to calm down a couple of notches. Just calm down. It's here. Breathe. And I need y'all to keep breathing for the next 2.5 months. And then y'all can wrap up the excitement and get it ramped up once again and dial it up to 11 or whatever, though. But yeah, in terms of anything else, if they happen to reveal any extra info and anything else in between, I got you covered. Whether it be just one of my videos I drop or also on my Zarcast podcast, we'll probably reiterate on some of this stuff for the Switch 2, even if some extra little bit of info comes out within the next few days when I air that out on Sunday, though. But that's going to basically do it in terms of today's video discussion, though. But if you really like this video, make sure to go and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing. So remember, y'all, until our video I make next, see y'all.